Today, we're going to be chatting with the band Mainstream Scare, discussing their upcoming album, Sound and Static, which should be coming out this fall. I hope you enjoy. Hello,
Hello.
the bat phone.
Yeah, I don't know how to change that.
I think it's funny. Just to
That's
totally, I thought you all were going to be on on the same line. And so I thought that's funny, like the bat line, the bat phone.
hilarious. I'm gonna see if I can change that. Hold on. That's hilarious. Uh,
I figured it out.
there we go. I'm not that old.
I wouldn't have figured it out.
Well, I saw it. No, I didn't. I just didn't figure. I'm like right when I saw it on there, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's. I could. I could have clicked that and changed my name. Okay,
I thought it was funny. I was all for it.
that's hilarious.
Oh,
What's up, guys?
hey, do we have all three of you come in or just you two?
It's just us.
Oh, cool, cool. How's your guys' night?
It's going well. Time with the
It's
family,
going.
hanging
I
out.
got. Yeah, I got a room full of kids running around like crazy out back. So
Busy night
it's
then.
fun. Yeah,
Busy night then. Cool. Well, yeah, it is. It's always a little bit tricky when we have multiple people, so we'll make it work. But it's okay if you guys talk over each other. We'll we'll make it work.
definitely.
Yeah.
We'll have to look at each other, James. We'll have to be like, Colin, James.
I can't see you. I can only see you when you talk.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Are you on your phone?
Yeah.
I think there's like up in the upper right hand corner. I don't know if it's the same on the phones, but up on the right hand corner, there's like a view button that you might be able to change it to where you can see him as well.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
James, I think
Is it on your
Um,
James? Swipe right on your phone. Just swipe right.
there you go.
okay.
There you go. Right.
We got it figured out. This technology stuff, man. They change it all the time too.
At least Colin's got his iPhone 16. I had mine as the bat phone.
I'll change. Let me see if I can change my name. I'll give it a shot.
You should have changed it to Robin.
That would have been amazing.
Oh man.
Am I muted?
Uh,
No.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna leave it iPhone 16. So I think it's better.
okay, cool. So yeah, we're here to talk about the project mainstream scare, which obviously is not something that's new, but has kind of been rejuvenated lately. Um, from what I had looked up, you guys have it. You don't have a release date yet for the album, but it sounds like fall.
Yeah, I believe October is what we are planning. Yeah, October is what we're planning to release it on. So,
Are you guys DIY?
yes,
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Well, that's kind of nice that you get to be able to kind of police that then and make sure that you're doing it on the time that works best for you guys.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I might be the wrong one to be talking about this because I would love to just release it right now, but uh, Kenneth's very strategic in what he's doing, and he's kind of the guy driving this right now as far as release dates and what we're releasing. So I'm kind of just taking a back seat and letting it all happen, and I'm enjoying it.
You know, if it's because there's like other bands that are releasing albums like earlier and after, so he's trying to strategically place you in a area that you guys will be able to get um more of an audience.
No, I don't really think that has anything to do with it. I think it's more the fact that we've been gone for 11 years.
Hmm.
So I think the more time we take to kind of really push these videos, these singles, and any content we have, it's kind of builds that whatever we had back in the day right back up, you know?
Makes sense. There has been some really cool like teaser trailers and you guys have done a really good job on the marketing with amping up even just the first single before it was released. Do you feel like you guys have been able to get a pretty good hype up from old and new fans alike with doing that?
Oh yeah. Colin could probably see this. He's been watching it more than I have. I've been crazy busy at work, but I don't know. What do you think, Colin? What do you think? It's been
Yeah.
like,
No, for sure. I mean, it's like it's interesting to talk about because we like James is like one of my best friends like ever. I've known James since I was 12 years old.
Oh, geez.
I've known Kenneth since I was about 12 years old. So like that's the history with us. And so like when we disbanded and decided to like go our separate ways in 2013-ish, um like that just the project was done over, like nothing, we never released anything else. And so like coming back, our expectations, James and I talked about it a lot, that like we have none, like no expectations. Like writing the whole record, there was no thought on I want this song to sound like this, or like, hey, this band is doing this, like we've changed, right? Like we can bring these influences in. Like there was zero of that. We just had a lot to get out when we got back together to write. A lot of life has happened. Whether it's all of us becoming fathers, losing people like really close to us. So um, when we were coming back to release it, I think as far as conversationally, like Kenneth was always like, no, like we're gonna do everything very strategically planned, and I expect that we can have some people be interested in this and take notice. And James and I were kind of like, I just like I'm so happy to have uh, a project to express myself, that like if people don't like it, that's fine. If people like it, cool. If it's just out there and nothing happens, who cares? So um the response, to circle back to your question, has been it has exceeded our expectations, because we didn't have any. So we've just gotten so much feedback that is like, this, I didn't expect this. This song is not what I expected, or comments on our video that are like, I didn't expect a video and song like this from a small band. So
Yeah.
that's pretty cool that those comments are like everything.
Yeah.
And even our perception of the songs, like Alone, um, which is the first single that we released, that song, our my mind and James's, I think our perceptions of that song before release and after have changed. I don't think that
Mhm.
like we even were like, oh, like it's, I like it. I like that song. I love what we wrote about. And I know, James, like how personal that song is to you. And like it means a lot to me too. But after releasing, it's like, oh, wait, people like that. So, okay, I think we did something cool there. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just
Yeah.
so it's changed our perception a little bit, seeing that. So I know, James, for you and for like I'm so excited to see what people think of the singles to come.
oh,
um I know you are too, James. So yeah.
For
yeah,
the Oh,
just
go
to
ahead.
back that up, you totally exceeded everything that I expected. You know, I just kind of half expected, oh, maybe my close friends, maybe my work buddies would blast it and that's it. But yeah, I don't know. Just exciting to wake up and you get like even 1,000 plays on something and it's like, holy shit, you know. Oh, sorry. Can we cuss?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, I haven't gotten in trouble for it yet. So, okay, that's cool. So yeah, I went and looked through the comments and stuff of the video. And obviously it's all been very, very positive. The video is a lot of fun, and I didn't realize you guys were a three-piece. You bring a lot to a three-piece that you wouldn't expect. Like I had listened to it before I'd watched the video, and I was like, where's the other couple guys, you know? So it's pretty impressive that you guys are able to do that. I love guitar, so the guitar work I super dig. I like the it's almost like a progressive kind of video game riff in there. And then
Right.
It's
yes,
Guitar Hero on expert mode in the
Heck
beginning.
yeah.
yes.
Totally. I love that.
Yes. And then all three of you guys sing and you guys all harmonize really well on each other's parts. And so that was really impressive and cool to see too. So do you guys across the board with this album that's going to be coming out, is it kind of like the same kind of formula or are there some twists and turns for people to expect?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of twists and turns for people
Awesome.
to expect.
I
Well,
love that.
one huge thing is like back in the day, we would always, jam into a studio all together and do this together. Maybe jam this material out for, a year or, at least 6 months before we went into a studio and did stuff. But I'm here in Michigan. Those guys are in California. And Kenneth's kind of a mad genius, so he kind of like took the reins on a lot of this stuff. But I've also been able to kind of send him some guitar stuff and that made it on the album. And also, I had to do all my vocals here by myself, so there was things that maybe when me and Colin first wrote the lyrics, I imagined him singing it, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna take a stab at it while I'm here by myself and not with a bunch of dudes looking at me critiquing. And like I just, stuff happened that ended up keeping and mixing in with Colin as well. And yeah, very proud of what we did, but definitely stepped out of our comfort zone. And people are in for a treat
When are you
or
guys
a
going to be
letdown.
or a letdown? When are you guys going to be releasing the next single?
June?
Yeah. So since we're doing the interview, because Kenneth hasn't really put out, anything, we haven't even talked about release dates. So we'll talk about the next single release is coming early June. Um, that I know we're all really excited to put this next single out because it like you were talking about twists and turns. It's really going to show another like dynamic to our like songwriting that I think some may expect and appreciate. Others might be like, oh, uh, yeah, this isn't what I expected following alone. Um,
Like
so
more going back maybe to some of your old roots, so maybe old fans will be like, okay, I can see them doing this, or just what people just might anticipate in general.
yeah, I don't want to go too into it, and I'd love to hear after this interview, like when the single comes out, what your thoughts are on it. But yeah, just it's like just more expansive on I think for me what James is capable of vocally alone showcased like for me in the studio writing that song. The product came out like James's like raw vocal power, that he has such a powerful voice. And to me, like, it's cool that I'm doing this with my best friends because I'm like impressed by my best friends, that I'm like, hey, like I'm writing songs with Kenneth, who I'm like, arguably Kenneth could play with anybody. He's a very talented songwriter, really technical guitar player, but he's
Uh,
my best friend and we're writing these songs. And for James, I'm like, holy crap. Like James alluded to, he pushed himself on this record doing things that none of the old material had. And I always knew that James was both like a great like screamer and more on the heavy side, but also had a great voice because he let that shine a little bit on singles in the past. Um, but I think that like dynamically for the next single and other places on the album, like just a very more variability on range for what James can do, and also like different, some of those different influences that we have personally. That it's not all heavy metal and hardcore and
mhm.
metalcore. It's James, you can talk about it, but it's bands like the Receiving End of Sirens or Deftones, or it's a lot of other artists that we really appreciate outside of metalcore, that we really wanted to kind of like be able to show that. And sometimes it gets dicey when you're trying to really you go crazy thinking about the songwriting. You're like, well, I'm influenced by all these bands. I don't just want to do this one thing.
Yeah.
And you drive yourself insane trying to express that. And I'm excited for the next single release because it shows a little bit more of other influences that we have. And like that, so that's like my main comment about it.
Yeah, just to kind of elaborate on that alone, when Colin and I were writing that, it was like our first little tiff and fight because I wanted to scream that whole beginning. And he's like, "No, man." He's like, I hear this melody." And I'm like, "All right, like let's flirt with this more." And I can't wait to do that live. It was fun recording it. And yeah, it's like one of my favorite parts of the album now.
What
But
made you
before, it was like a little like thing. He really pushed me and kind of it ticked me off a little bit at first. I was like, I really want to scream this, man. I got this cool screaming part. And no, it's what it served the song best. Yeah, I stoked it. We went that way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing that I can't imagine how difficult it is when you have you guys have three, so you guys have a little bit less of people to have to appease. But I always say that bands are like marriages. You have to coexist and you have to figure out these creative flows together, and that's not an easy thing. And so you guys being friends for as long as you have, kind of know how each other tick and how to work through those things probably a little bit better than most.
Oh,
Um, but yes, that's cool. And you guys, so with the song or with the lyrical writing, you two are the two that write the lyrics. Do you guys write like tackle the same songs or do you just tackle different songs?
it depends. There's sometimes like either he or I will get really inspired and we'll like be texting each other all day. These lyrics, paragraphs, and like cool, like we have something to take into the next session. Or, we, go totally at the, I don't know, just at the seat of our whatever that saying is.
By the seat of your pants?
Yeah,
I do that all the time.
exactly.
And
Yeah, just
yeah,
as we go, line per line,
yeah.
listening to the song. Of course, it starts with the song. We never really, I don't know, we've never really written a song based upon lyrics, I don't think. But
The only song, James, the first track, the opener to the record, is the one song on this whole album that you were like, I have it, it's done. Every
which
other
one?
song, the first song on the record,
Oh, dear brother. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
is the
that,
only
yeah.
that song you were just like, nope, I got it. But like, yeah, agreed. Like, it depends. We'll be texting each other all day, like getting like certain ideas or certain like thematic lyrics that we're like, what is, and I think the coolest thing about what we do is we try not to overthink, and we've developed this idea. You were alluding to bands being a marriage and how tough that is. It it was like absolutely an Achilles heel for us in the past. We had five members and we couldn't we some of us were trying to do things like, for example, Kenneth, like I really felt that we had something that we could really expand on our songwriting. Other members wanted to be heavier and we're like, look, we're in the scene, like we should be writing songs that when we play shows, it's just the heaviest shit you've ever seen in your life. And so it really was difficult because we wrote some songs, or Kenneth would come to the table, some of us, and we couldn't agree. But the approach this time around, like we're not little 20-year-olds anymore, and so we've decided to like write everything unless we like vehemently disagree and are like, this is just like sorry to tell you, like this is not good, but we've decided to like like if we're writing it, if you're coming to the table and you're inspired by it, then we're going to see it through, and we can disregard it if it doesn't come out how we want. But Kenneth is like our producer, and so, not like our producer, I mean, he Kenneth could produce any band, and I think that was the most impressive part for us is that like on this record, our dynamic, like James and I wrote all the lyrics to it, and Kenneth left us alone and trusted us to do it. Although Kenneth like comes up with great vocals, comes up with great lyrics as well, but was just like, we're just coming back and doing this record. You guys have always done that. I'm going to leave it to you. And what we would record and give to Kenneth, Kenneth would get inspired by it, and like Kenneth it ended up forming this way where we're all doing vocals, not planned. It
Oh,
formed like it formed by like inspiration. So like James and I would write, and what the record is on all the songs would really be, I in my opinion, somewhat incomplete without Kenneth going and saying like, I'm taking it, I'm producing it, I'm going to make this all. And then Kenneth would go, I got inspired and thought that there should be a harmony here and a backing vocal here, and he'd go and track it, and we'd be like, holy shit, I didn't even think to carry that melody through to that part. And so
Mhm.
it was like, it was, I wish I could say that it was more like, yeah, we're so methodical. Like I thought of that when James, I thought of that when we wrote that, but we didn't. We it just through producing the songs, and to be honest, James, and you can elaborate if you want. Like we spent time on this record. We didn't rush it at all. We sat with the songs sometimes for months. We've really more or less been working on this record since 2021.
Yep.
it's
Oh, you
awesome.
said there.
That's the story. Um, I do want to talk about I'm going to get into I'm going to get in depth here in a little bit, but I wanted to talk about you keep saying like influences. Is there like a main influential band or bands that you guys all share, or do you guys come from like different areas and that's where the influences kind of mix?
It is all over the place. Like we couldn't be more different. I can't even tell you what Kenneth is right now. Back in the day, it was like what's the Lexi Laiho guitarist, Colin?
Oh, Children
He
of
was in
Bodom.
he was
There
into
you go.
Bodum. Yep.
Hmm.
But then he also would listen to like Cursive or Bright Eyes, like he had like an emo side. Just like I do though, like I have very highs and lows. Like I can go from listening to a band like, Chelsea Grin, Suicide Silence to listening to like Deftones, Coldplay, Balance and Composure. I got into like huge showgaze phase, and that's honestly what influenced me the most on this album, like vocally, was the showgaze. Was weirdly enough, like just kind of, going to a softer side and using that. 'Cause I don't know. I heard bands, no, though I'm not into these type of bands, but Bad Omens, they have that softer side with that aggression, and it's beautiful. I love it. But you know, though it's not totally for me, I can appreciate it and respect it big time.
For sure. How about you?
So yeah, agreed with James. It is totally all over the place. I was always into punk rock like my whole life, and when I met James at 12 years old, I was listening to like AFI, which is still lifelong like huge AFI fan. James knows
Bells
that.
is one of the best albums out there.
Black Sails, Art of Drowning, Sing the Sorrow. Yeah, huge AFI. But also like I don't know, like I was really into like ska, and I was really into like um, no effects and RX Bandits, and just a lot of different like on the punk rock side. Met James. I'm a 12-year-old in seventh grade. He's wearing a Slipknot shirt from Self Titled, and I'm like, I moved to a new city. I didn't have any friends, none, and I was in a band class with James, and I think James like back then, James like I had lessons, so like I could play for like my age. And I think James, you were like we James and I were both going out for the chair of jazz band
Oh no.
before we were friends. And
Oh
I got the
gosh.
chair because like I could play drums, and James, it was like a dream for you to play drums. And I
Yeah.
think James wanted to like beat me up because I got the chair position, and like didn't like me, was like, fuck that like preppy kid, you know. James was like really like popular when we were younger. I was a new kid listening to like fucking AFI at home, and like moved to a new town. I don't have any friends. And James slowly, like I was interested in like he'd be wearing like a Corn shirt or a Deftone shirt or a System shirt or Slipknot, and I'm like, this kid's like fucking cool. This kid like knows music and he's interested in things I don't. So like, what are you into? And like James took me in and was like, actually, you can fucking play drums. And I think James, as far as, and correct me if I'm wrong, James, but James would hear that back in the day. I was a punk rock drummer. I'd be playing fast punk rock drums, and James is like, you could definitely play metal, like for sure.
Wow.
You just got to pull the double bass, and so um, James really got me into like Slipknot and more on the metal side, Mudvayne, all those bands from the mid 2000s.
Mhm.
And yeah, I mean, personal influences, James knows. What do I like? Punk rock. I'm really into pop punk. I'm like a huge uh pop punk guy. So like newer bands, like I like State Champs. I get down with bands like Cartel, who are super underrated, and they're probably my favorite band ever. But I also like things just completely across the board. I like stripped down acoustic stuff like City and Color, like so we just have a lot of different influences. The Receiving End of Sirens, I think, put out the greatest album of all time with Between the Heart and the Synapse. And so that stuff is like genre bending stuff. And it's always been
Mhm.
like, I don't know how this band is able to pull so many of these influences and actually like execute on it.
Yeah.
And so like that's been like I think our musical life's journey to be like, well, how do we express our influences in a way
Yeah.
that isn't like, well, I like that the Ghost Inside records. I want to sound like the Ghost Inside. Like that's just was always like, no. Like
Mhm.
and so even like lyrical writing, um, we like subliminally write. A lot of times we don't even have necessarily a topic and we'll write and like go line for line for a song. And what will be the outcome is we'll talk about like what we've been going through lately, or like songs that we wrote on the record. Like James, you helping me write um Waves after my dad died. Like I don't know how to express that. You know what I mean? Like I don't
Yeah.
know how to like talk to you about like and put on paper like the grief that I'm experiencing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like subliminally writing without being like, hey, just take a step back and let's go line for line and let's get to the end of the song. We can always rewrite it, but then we'll read it and to me, James, like every song we've written when we've gotten to the end of it, we've been like, that's beautiful. Like however that came out, like you said it. You know what I mean? You said it and you weren't trying to say it. And so I've just loved that. I've loved like writing this record with you,
Well,
dude.
I think well, I loved it too, man. Thank you. I'll
Aw.
Venmo $20 that I paid you to say all this good stuff about. No, like it, I think we did a great job at never writing if we weren't inspired. There was nights where, we'd try, we'd go an hour, nothing, and we'd stop. We would never force a feeling or even a word, on this album. That's how we got this outcome and why we're happy about this. I'm usually cringing. I don't listen to our stuff at all. I'm honest. I'm going to be honest about that. Like, and maybe it was the recordings back in the day, or just we practice a shit ton. So maybe I just got burnt out on our material very quickly. But I would never go back and listen to our stuff. Like this is like all I listen to right now. Like, and I get obsessed with it. And yeah, it's fun.
People can tell though when it's something that's super genuine and comes from a deeper place. So I'm really stoked to hear the rest of it, knowing what has gone into it, all the heart and soul that's gone into it. Because sometimes, people just have to kind of crank them out because that's part of what you do in order to stay relevant, because there's music constantly coming out. But people can tell. And so, with the heaviness of the topics that you guys are tackling, I know you guys haven't been able to do this live yet, but are you guys ready to tackle very emotional topics and in front of a whole bunch of people? And how have you throughout the process? I do know that writing music can be very cathartic and can be helpful, but how have you been able to like practice self-care while you're tackling very intense subjects?
I think friendship. I think just this isn't all we do. Me and Colin talk to each other every day. We talk with Kenneth every day, and yeah, it's not just the band stuff. It's how you doing, man. Is there anything I can help you with? You know,
Yeah, for sure. It's not business as usual. Like
never,
because
honestly.
I'm sorry, being in a band, writing songs, taking the time away from our families to do that is like is a sacrifice in and of
Yeah.
itself. I'm so happy that like all of our like loved ones, significant others, wives are like, dude, like this is so meaningful to you. It's such a like art. I don't care what it is. Like art is so human. Like fucking do it. Like
Yeah.
go do it. So like we've just been given so much like love by those closest to us to really like take the time and to do it. And as far as James, that was like so well said that like our friendship is why, because it's not business as usual, because we don't give a shit. Like we don't have to do this. You know what I mean? Like we don't have to. There's not anybody relying on us, and I think that's the mentality too. On like we talked about it a lot when like we go back and forth with like anxiety of like releasing the shit, like hoping, just hoping, because it does mean a lot to us. We were able to like express the last 10 years of like a lot of growing up, growing up, you know, um, starting life, what that means, like from our perspective, going through the trials, like we all do, like all of us. And then we have an outlet to express personally, like what that is. Um, but you know, we go back and forth. Like, I hope it translates, right? Like, I hope that like people like it. But then we stop, and James and I, you go like, who cares? I like it. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so that's been super cool. As far as live, oh man, like it's so, I think, James, like, it's so natural for us to like get on a stage that like we haven't played a show in since 2013, right? And
Yeah.
that what will that mean? That we rehearse and we get show ready again, you know what I mean? And that we're good to go and that we have a religious experience on stage,
Yeah, right. Totally.
you know?
So something I think is really important to think about with a album like this, assuming that it's gonna go well and that you guys are gonna continue. Obviously I've only heard the one song, but the one song already sounds like it's probably gonna do pretty well. Um, assuming that it does, are you guys prepared for people to come to you with their heavy topics and what your music has done or meant to them in their own like, heavy trials and things that they've gone through?
I believe so. I think throughout the years we've kept in touch with a lot of those people that we got close with back in the day, you know? So that's nothing new to us, and it's nothing, I don't know, that's nothing that should be weighted on anybody. That's what we should be here for, to talk with one another. That's what I'm here for. I love to hear about people's things and the good and the bad. And I don't know if I can do anything on it in this lifetime. It's help one person, if not 100. That'd be awesome.
What's cool about music is it is therapy away from therapy for people that either can't afford therapy or are uncomfortable with therapy or just doing or are doing therapy, but then that's an hour a week or a month or whatever. And music is what's always there for us. Music is what gets us through. I say this all the time. I am terrified to think of a world without music because unfortunately music industry, there's pros and cons, but musicians don't get paid what they give to us. And so I it always makes me nervous like that at some point that it's just not going to be financially feasible anymore. And so I'm just like I can't imagine there not being music. I think it would be detrimental to our species. So I appreciate you guys putting so much time and effort into something that is going to be, helpful for so many people for sure.
Well, I think you're going to see a lot more of bands like this and bands like this band, 100th. You've heard of a band called 100th?
Mm-mm.
check them out. That's a
Okay.
treat. From the beginning, they were a hardcore band, and now they're like this psychedelic shoegaze.
Hmm.
But they are totally DIY, and they do it on their terms. They all have jobs and probably families, but that's all we came back to do this. We want to do this. We want to keep, present in our family, keep present at our jobs. But if this goes somewhere where we can take off 3, 4 weeks to do a tour, I'll do it. you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this life will always be more important, and you're going to see a lot more of that from other bands. Trust me.
Yeah. I believe it for sure. You talked about genre bending, which is so that's why I asked about Twists and Turns because those are my favorite albums. That song to song, you don't know what the next thing's gonna be, um, because there's so much music out there anymore that it's difficult not to get bored if someone's just doing the same thing over and over and over, you know? And so I get really excited about that. And genre bending is especially like 12 Foot Ninja is one of my favorite bands, and they mix every kind of style of
Crazy.
music in their music. Like they're all over the place. Mr. Bungle, like I'm a big Mr. Bungle fan. Um, so I'm excited to hear what you mean by yeah, the twists and turns in it. And obviously, I mean, I'm a kid of the 90s. Deftones was kind of a staple during that time. So I'm excited what you mean in that capacity as well. Um, but yeah, so just like hurry up already.
Well, I think you're going to be more stoked on, yeah. I think you're going to be more stoked on the covers that we released then.
Doing
I'm
covers?
not telling. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not telling you what covers we're doing, but
Hey, I'm gonna tell you, I can look. I won't say anything out loud, but I think it was on here that I saved, like you can go and save the upcoming album, and I saw somewhere, maybe I don't think I screenshotted it, but I saw somewhere the list of tracks because that's how I knew you guys had 10 tracks. Um so
yeah,
I'm gonna look afterwards to see what they are and see if I can actually, maybe I won't even be able to pinpoint them. I want to see if I can pinpoint what they are just by the name.
uh, it's not out there at all.
Oh no?
Nope.
Nope.
Mm-mm.
How many
Nope.
No.
covers are you guys doing? Can you tell me that?
Two so
Two.
far.
Okay. And it's going to be on the
One
album?
of them, not on the. It's not going to be on the album release, but it'll be
Oh.
released after the album.
Okay, so they're going to be singles.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's fun. With the album release, hopefully October, are you guys going to have like bundles or any merch or any like media that you're going to be selling with it?
A lot of this we're just kind of going with the flow. I think now we're starting to talk about it, just seeing the reaction of this one single. So, after the second single, after the third single, I think it's going to be more apparent that we should probably get that in line. But it's just talks right now.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I don't know if it's the cover of what the album's actually going to be or if it was just the cover of Alone. But it looked like from what I had seen when I had pre-downloaded it, it looked like it was perhaps the cover of the album with the outline of the shadowy person.
Hmm. And it
Is
had
that,
kind of like the circles around it.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a particular artist that you're working with that could perhaps also do like t-shirt designs if you guys get there? Not that I'm like hoping for this stuff or anything, but
Interesting thing about that, and this whole thing. We originally were going. I flew out to California, what, like 2, 3 years ago, Colin?
Yeah. 3 years ago, 3.5.
Yeah. We were actually just going to record for our first band, Ambergene, and our original guitar player had some songs ready, and I was like, all right, let's go over there and film some stuff. And it just got us in this kind of like, dream state mindset that like, all right, let's like start a band back up and go shoot some stuff. And Colin had this idea, let's go drag this cloak into the woods and go take random pictures literally in the woods that we grew up in Lake
oh,
Forest. So it was just very cool just to be walking through there as like 35, 34, 35 year old and be taking photo shoots for our band. And yeah, that was actually a live shot that went into the sewage area. And that's just the sunlight coming in from a sewage exit with a shadow figure, and it was like the perfect shot. And we
Cool.
sent it to, who was his name, Colin? He's
It's
gonna kill me.
it's Travis. You remember? He
Travis or something.
I can look it up really quick, but he did art for Avenged Sevenfold.
Oh wow.
Opeth is the biggest one
Oh,
that I was,
love
yeah.
Opeth so much.
Right. Oh,
Their last album, oh my gosh, was see, I like weird stuff. I like the you don't know where it's coming from, and Opeth does that anyways. But this last album, I was just like, and Avenged Sevenfold's last album too.
right.
Love
Oh,
it.
but yeah, it
Lots
was
of
just
people hated it.
yeah.
So
Yeah, it
it's an
was just an
actual photo
iPhone
image.
shot that we sent to him to just edit and make it what it is now.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's horrible. I cannot remember his name.
That's
I'm trying to
okay.
look it up.
I'm putting you on the spot. That's always how it happens. As soon as you get put on the spot, you're like, normally I would know, but because you asked me, it's gonna go
Mhm.
skip my
So
mind.
it's James, it's Travis Smith.
I knew it. I did
Oh,
get it
that's
right.
like the most basic name. Of course, you didn't remember it. Time there's like super basic names. I think sometimes you'll go through, like I'm a Rogers, and so I think sometimes you're just like, okay, it's basic. Which basic one is it?
Yeah, you go and look at this guy's stuff though. He's done everything like on that in that realm, like just immaculate art. And here we're sending him an iPhone picture, and he just doctored it up and made it look absolutely beautiful. So I commend him for that. And he did our logo. So
Oh, cool.
right, he did our logo.
Yeah, he did.
Yes.
Oh, awesome. 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 Cool. Well, yeah, sounds like it would be a perfect person then for a soft march if you guys ended up going in that direction. Was
Yeah,
he?
Absolutely.
I think we'll end up doing that. Like we have things that like we even want for ourselves, like whether that's like, putting a vinyl on the wall or whatnot. So like nothing like, we're like James said, like we're not committing to anything. We're just like, all right, well, we put so much so much energy, time into these singles, music videos, and otherwise that you'll eventually see when they're released. But we'll get there where we get there on what we decided to do for all the singles that we're like, we'll see what happens. And it's like I'd like a shirt, I'd like a vinyl. So
Yeah.
we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But it's not like you said, it's not a barrier to get those things done. It's just like, oh, well, seems like people want it too.
Yeah.
So okay, when that happens,
Well, and it's one thing
Right.
that if you do get enough people interested, it's one thing that you can actually make money with and be able to replenish some of the money that you've already put into this because the stuff that not only just creating the music itself, but the videos, because it sounds like you have more videos coming out than not just like lyric videos or what, not that lyric videos don't take time and money as well, but
Yes.
it's different when you have like you guys up there and being videoed as well. And so did you say two more singles that are going to be coming out, or do you know yet?
there's three more.
Three more. Okay. Do you have
Hmm.
videos for all three of them?
Yeah.
Wow. Did you guys record it all at the same time?
Record them all at the same time. We did a 2-day shoot for the first two singles. First two singles, 2 days, um, with Nick Court from Killing It Entertainment. Awesome dude. Um, does a lot of great work with a lot of great bands, whether it's live or music videos. Like he's so good. He's so like amazing to work with as well. And just like, yeah, just like fun to do it with. It wasn't like serious and it was hard to
Yeah.
judge. Like it's like, oh, you have really good gear and you seem to be like really regimented with time on like that you listen to the tracks and you're like, these are the shots I need. So I think this is gonna be good, but also like we're being like silly and not serious. And so when we like even when we got the result for like seeing our first single alone and then seeing the final for our second single, we're like that's better than I thought it was gonna be. So yeah,
We were goofing around a lot for him to be able to get those serious shots.
yeah, and
Oh, that was our first time doing that. We had only done live videos, where somebody we just pay somebody to come out and watch us play live.
Yeah.
I've never had to lip sync over my track. I couldn't even do that. I ended up blowing my voice out. I can't, it was so much fun. And like you said, Nick made it so comfortable and easy for us to be goofballs within the first hour, let alone the next 2 days of him. So love him for that.
That's so important because that's got to be awkward when you're not like actually playing the instruments. And so you're like quite literally acting and obviously that's not something that you guys are used to. And so you're sitting here playing these songs that you guys have put all your heartfelt energy into, but not at the same time. That's got to
Nika,
be awkward.
I played the drums,
Did
okay?
you?
I played I played the drums during the videos, but yeah. No, it's like it's so funny because like when we're doing that, like we're using like cymbal dampeners. So it's like you're not it's not really cymbals. All my toms are and drums are like so loose. So like I'm hitting like just dampened everything. So it's just such a weird it's and then you're just hearing like PA like, oh, there's your song, you're playing that. So it's definitely it's really weird to do it.
It's like those memes where they take out the music and it's just the guys going, and it's their sneakers like, screeching. It's exactly how it is.
That's true.
Those videos.
Me
Oh my
too.
gosh,
Those make
that's
me
funny.
die.
Oh, they're so funny. Oh yeah, yeah, I can only imagine. It's funny because I always think about that when I see, just because I know what goes into it, because I talk to enough people that anytime I see like big theatrical things, I just think that has got to feel so bizarre and so weird to be like, I mean, you're quite literally acting to these things that are so important and so artistic to you, and then you're like, I mean, obviously the art part is very important, but it just seems like it almost would. I think for me, I would be like, I feel like I'm making a mockery out of this, something that
Totally.
is so important. But it always comes out like,
Yeah.
obviously that's what people want to see. They want to see you guys doing it.
Yeah. And you
James,
make the
we talked about how weird it was going into it, and like I don't know how long this is going to take for me to feel comfortable doing this. Like we absolutely talked about that, going into the shoots.
like you said too, Nick did a good job at kind of even pushing us. He wasn't taking, a bad shot. If Colin wasn't hitting his drums hard enough, he would tell Colin he wasn't hitting his drums hard enough. If we weren't throwing down hard enough, he would tell us, you look boring. So we have a lot to give to him to kind of get us, get a fire under our ass, honestly.
Hmm.
Moving forward, you guys obviously have already recorded these ones, but again, assuming that this all goes well and you guys get to keep going, moving forward, are you going to feel more comfortable going back into that setting since you've already had some experience then?
Oh yeah, Colin and I have already like daydreamed about the next videos and how we're gonna get more artsy with these things. But it is what it is. That when the time comes, it'll come, and what happens will happen. I think that's what we've always been about, and I like the outcome of when we just take things, you know, as they come. So no planning. I just like to let it happen, and we'll see what the outcome is.
You could go like the Red Fang way and just make totally goofy videos that are just, I
Oh
don't know
man.
if have you guys ever seen Red Fang videos?
hmm
They're
We've
like some of my
talked.
favorites.
If we that what's we've talked about it, but the funny videos cost more than the serious
Yeah,
videos.
for sure.
James, we had the our fourth single
Yep. Yep.
that's
That's what I'm
coming out,
thinking
and on
about.
the list that you have, Nika, it's a song called "Hell in Your Eyes" on the record, which I love for what it does, and just that it's different as a single comparatively to the other songs. But we were just James and I were just getting like really just like into ideas, and we came up with like it was a complete hilarious like spoof like music video that had a lot of different scenes. It was like cowboy western and like freaking
Fun.
hilarious. And but it's like James said, it's like that would take how many days, and we'd have to storyboard the entire thing. And not that that's off the table for something in the future, because that'd be super freaking fun. And I think James, like, you're naturally like really freaking funny, so it's like it would be super fun to do. But it's just would it would take probably like 4 to 5 days of filming with a lot more mapping out, which we were just like, no, like Nick is a homie doing this for us. Like we're gonna shoot 2 music videos in 2 days in 2 locations, and it's gonna be just more of just the band and playing, and then you know, can figure out if that's something that we want to do and how we want to do it for future, music stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I mean, ultimately, it's like a mini movie. So yeah, of course, it's gonna cost and take a lot more time to do. So that makes
Mhm.
sense. Cowboy Western would be cool though. It automatically took me to Cowboy Bebop, even though that's more space.
Yeah.
Just because Space Cowboy, I don't know.
Yeah.
Awesome. I did want to also ask you about the name of the band, because it's a super creative name. Where did you guys end up coming? Oh, there's a story here. Where did you come up with the name?
Oh gosh. I don't even remember. I think we were sitting in either my apartment in Anaheim, and it was just one of those things where we're sitting there for an hour, maybe 2 hours, just throwing names back and forth. And I want to say it was our bass player, Blair Pickett, who threw this name out there. And it was just, it stuck, it kind of, stuck with us. But I hated it for the longest time.
I love it.
I'm so glad you do. And I'm honestly surprised we haven't gotten shit for it because I've been waiting for it.
Really? Why do you think you would get shit for? I think it's super
I don't
creative, and it's not
know.
something that you would hear, anywhere else.
I really don't know. I think it's because I'm my own. I think Colin's the same. I'm my worst critique, and I hold myself to I don't know. I even the bands that I like, Deftones, it's like what does that name even mean, But like I don't know. It just never back then it never did anything for me, but now I have grown to really like it and appreciate it and respect it for what it is.
Yeah, it
But
was
yeah.
in like James. It was in 2009. We like Blair threw it out there, and we're like, Uh, yeah, and it just like traveled forward a week where we're like, no, we're like moving, like we wrote an EP, like we need a name, okay, and then I think through putting out singles, in 2010 and having a YouTube video up there, and people commenting like, oh, I get the mainstream scare. It's kind of, you got singing, it's mainstream, but oh, scary, it's kind of heavy, and I think that
Taking
drove
it
it
in
home
that
to you.
direction.
That's well, I'm saying like for James, I know that's why it's like that for you because of like literally like YouTube comments that you're like, oh, so like that's how they're interpreting our band. That we have some like choruses, but we're heavy, and so it's like made touching on mainstream, but then it's got this darker side, and like I think that like that's where you took it, and you're like, oh, I don't like it,
Yeah.
but stoked you like it, Nika, because that's cool.
Yeah.
Love horror movies, so I automatically just kind of, I guess, focused on the scare
No.
part and and kind of just I would not have taken it in that direction at all, or else I would.
James, you're like,
You could change it, which obviously you don't want to. But have you thought of other names that you were like, gosh, I wish we would have gone with that instead?
I mean, there's been things that have come up that were like, we should start a hardcore band, like this, but nothing for this project. Once it was mainstream, it's always been mainstream, and we've never thought about changing the name.
Well, I like it. I think it's a cool name. When I had yeah, initially listened to it, because of I like progressive metal, and I hear progressive metal elements, and then like the industrial, side of it too. Um, yeah, I mean, you guys produce good music, so people can say whatever they want with the name, but you guys are doing a fantastic job. I love the single. I like the old stuff too. But I am super excited to see which direction you guys go with this one, and I'm just anxious to hear the rest of it.
Yeah, we're anxious to release it. I think, the old stuff I can always just chalk it up to just poor recordings, not enough funds to really get into a great studio to give it, those songs what they deserve. But I'm fully proud of what we have coming out with this one and couldn't be more excited to release it and have everybody else talk about it or just shit on it. I'm excited for the bad side of things too.
It's a good point, James. It's a good point, man.
Honestly, I love that. Like, if I don't know, like I'll skip the good, like, oh, good song. Like, if it's like a long, like, it could be this, it could be like, all right, what's that guy about? What could I have done better to make that guy happier?
Yeah, what we just naturally do though is focus on those negative comments. There's like 100, and this is amazing. This is my new favorite. And then there's that one that's like, fuck these guys. And you're like, okay, that's the one I'm going to focus on. That's the one that's going to keep
It's
me up at
never
night,
bad
right?
though. Like I never, I don't know. I've never been up at night thinking about that stuff.
That's
It's
good.
just I mean, I used to get shit back in the day for like burping in the mic, like on YouTube, and like I don't know. Now there's guys like Will Ramos that's like hawking a loogie in the mic, so I don't know. It's
Or
just
like,
one of
what's his
those.
name? The Kubla Khan guy. Oh, my son would kill me for not remembering. Bart, is that his name? I can't
Matt
remember.
Honeycutt.
Matt. Geez, I was way off. But he barks.
Yeah,
Just like, yes.
there's just no more rules now, so it's just funny, and I love the negative stuff.
Awesome. Well, I'm really excited to see not only hear what you guys are going to be coming out with, but also to see how it goes and see what you guys do with it. I'm super stoked to see what ends up happening and coming from it all.
Yeah, thank you. We are excited too.
For sure. Thank you guys. I took a lot of your guys' time. Thank you guys so much for taking so much time with me and having some drinks with me.
Yeah,
But when it gets closer, either closer to release time or after release time, if you guys are up for doing this again, I would really like to be able to kind of come full circle with what's happened and how the responses have been.
absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Awesome. Have a great rest of your nights. Enjoy your families, and I will chat with you guys another time.
Thank you. You too.
All right.
Awesome.
Thanks so
Thanks.
much.
Bye.
Bye.